Here we go, guys. I've got a bit of a thing happening at the moment. So, got Michael here. Michael?
Mike.
Mike. So, Mike's custom rods. So, Mike's going to make Salty a fishing rod. Don't know how we go about this, so I've come here and Mike's going to sort of explain it to us, and in the end we'll have a rod. So Mike's got a couple of blanks. I don't know, you want to... I'll jump around this side. You're there the star.
Yeah, well look, like I said, well I spoke to you and you said you like the old, the feel of the old uglies, so we found a couple of blanks that will be similar kind of feel. 6 to 10 kilo and 10 to 15 kilo. I was just telling Salty these are blanks that again from New Zealand. Composite Developments are look, they're good. They're a family business. They still make them themselves in New Zealand, so I use quite a bit of them, and they're a good quality rod blank. So
so basically you got to pick one out. So we got, what was it?
6 to 10
kilo
and 10 to 15 kilo.
And 10 to 15. So
they feel very similar. Just one's got a little bit more, a little bit more strength in the butt section, I suppose.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm thinking 10 to 15 is probably where I'm thinking.
Yep.
Just in case, you know, when Salty gets that big fish on occasionally, we'll go with that. You know, I don't want to lose the big fish. Pop can catch all the little shit, as we say.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Still light enough that you can you'll feel all the small stuff, but heavy enough that when you do drag something big up, you're yeah,
and it'll be great. So we pick the rod out. Now, what's the next process?
Look,
you just got to put the butt and...
Yep, I'll order all the bits and pieces. So if there's a particular colour scheme you like, we can get aluminium reel seats in different colours and guides, and we can pretty much customise it to suit whatever you like. Some people like them to suit the colour scheme of a boat or a fishing reel.
Here we go. There's my colour scheme.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go. Yep. We got the old Salty Daz stickers, so we'll probably try and get him to do something along that line.
Yeah, we can keep it blue, grey and white, and it'll suit your theme.
Suit the theme, and it'll stand out on video.
Absolutely.
And then, yeah, people will know what rod I'm using when I catch that big one. It's going to be my new lucky rod, people. Righto, guys, we're back with Mike, and he's just going to explain a bit more about how we're building this rod. So we got the blank last time. Now, Mike was just explaining that there is a spine on a rod, which I didn't know.
Yeah, so look, the way they build the blanks, they lay layers of cloth over, and it's never ever perfect. So every blank's got a natural place, a natural bend in it. So on a hard surface, you roll a blank over it and you'll just find a spot where it just seems to fall and stay there, and that's the natural curve of the rod. So when we build now, once we work out where that curve is and we start to build, everything we build is on that spine, on that line, so that as your rod's bending, it's bending on a natural curve where it wants to. So
it's comfortable.
Not fighting against it.
Okay, that's cool. So
yeah. So now they've all got them.
Yeah.
Try your rods at home. I was just telling Daz, get your rods at home, get a little bit of weight, start rolling around your fingers, and you'll find that all of your rods that you've got at home, they'll all have a spine. Generally, the guides will be on the spine,
and if they're not, your rod's built wrong.
That's right. Have a feel of them, see what they feel like.
Righto. Now the next bit, he's put. This is actually my rod, so this has got the eyes on it. So Mike's worked out where the spine is, and he's just going to show us now how we work out where the eyes all go.
Yeah, so we've got the spine, we've got the reel seat aligned on the spine, we've glued the tip on, and look, we'll just tape the guides on where I think they need to be. Look, we've built a few rods, so I've got a reasonable idea of where they're going to end up now. Put them on there, we bring it outside here, and I load it up just to get the curve on it. And we just want to see if we've got a nice, even, smooth curve in the rod. So look, we know we're going to get angles, but we just want to keep the angles, just keep it as smooth as we can, so that the bend in the rod and the line stays as parallel to that bend as we can.
Yeah, which you should be able to see with that nice cord in there. It shows up really well. So it gives a nice even angle. Nothing too sharp in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sometimes we might adjust them a centimetre or two, but most times we get them pretty close.
So.
But time to bind them all on now.
So yeah, so that's the next process, is actually binding them on, and yeah, then it's sort of getting close to finished, isn't it?
Get it wet.
Get it wet. Get a fish on it. That's going to be the fun bit, getting a fish on it. That's when the pressure's on me. So I was just asking Mike about the binding and the process of like gluing it all on. So I'll get him to just explain how we go about that.
All right. So look, we'll put a couple of stickers down here, and then we'll start binding the guides on. Well, whatever colours you like, really. The limits, imaginations.
Salty Daz colours.
Absolutely. We got something to match yours. And look, we'll get epoxy. The epoxy is basically like a two-part, like a filler, I suppose. And generally we'll put 3 coats on the bindings. The first coat will thin it out a little bit so that it soaks right through the bindings. Yep. So that it gets a good bonding with the blank. And then look, once it's finished, it'll be a it's actually good. It magnifies what's underneath. So if you put fine detail, it's hard to see fine detail in the binding.
Okay.
Once you put the epoxy over, it magnifies it, so you can really see. It makes what's underneath like really pop. So it makes the colours look good.
Look good. Makes it look pretty.
Yep. So and it protects it. Once that's on there, it'll protect it forever.
And you were saying about the drying, it goes into a roller and dries.
Yeah. So it takes a good 8 hours for it to start to solidify. So I'll put the epoxy on. We'll leave it spinning in a rod dryer overnight.
So so it's not a paint on, guys, and just it's good. It's got to sit and roll for a time.
It's got to roll so it dries and it self-levels as it rolls.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's the slowest part of the whole build is 4 days worth of drying, really.
Drying.
Yeah.
Especially it's got to roll and. Yeah.
Yep.
There we go. We're all learning. This is all stuff I didn't know, guys. I've had rods my whole life and don't know this shit. So yeah, so this is all good. Righto, guys. We're back at Mike's. It's getting exciting. So I've come up to check out the rod. Mike's going to do some epoxy on it. So say hello, Mike. He's getting the epoxy ready.
Everybody.
So this is my rod. I'll start at the top and she's turning. So this is going to get the epoxy on it. And it's getting very pretty, guys. Very pretty. Check this out. There you go. You watch my name comes round. Mike's name comes round. How cool is that? And check the sparkles. So this is where we're at. So I got me whole rod there. So when Mike puts the epoxy on it, we'll film a bit of that so you can see what goes on. And how long has this got to spin for to dry, Mike?
I'll spin this till tomorrow morning. We'll spin it all
tomorrow
usually
morning.
10-12 hours
So
for it to dry enough to get another coat on there.
Yeah.
And they'll need 3 coats, so it's a long process.
Yeah, long, slow process. I'll tell you what, it's going to look bloody good, guys. Oh, this is when you get really excited. Guys, here's the fun bit. Mike's going to put the epoxy on, so
we'll get it turning.
Get it in here. Trying to have a steady hand.
Yeah, some days
holding the camera that.
Some days are better than others.
Yeah.
But we'll basically get it on there. We're not trying to put too much on in the first coat. The bulk of this is going to soak through the epoxy and basically soak through and almost glue the epoxy to the binding to the rod. And especially where you get up in this bit where the real foot is, the guide foot is. You imagine there's a bit of a gap underneath that under there, and a lot of this epoxy is going to soak through that gap and fill it up, and again it's going to bind it all to the rod a bit. The next couple of coats, more of it's going to sit up on top and it's actually going to start to build it up, whereas this coat here is don't put too much on and just let it soak in. This bit here. So the beauty of it being...
That's what I was thinking, how do you do that bit with that spinning?
Yeah, so and the beauty of it turning afterwards is if you can keep this fairly uniform now, once it turns, and we put a little bit of heat on there, the heat will thin the epoxy out and the rod turning constantly, and it will level itself out, and it'll come out nice and neat.
You can sort of see the difference, guys, when you look at the side now that has got the epoxy and
the epoxy changes it.
It does.
It magnifies it, so all that, especially the metallic trim bands, that little bit of epoxy on there, when it magnifies it, makes them look twice as good.
Just having that steady hand.
Just kind of getting a little bit on there and just building up like a little, almost like a little bow wave, and then just trying to keep it even, and just pushing it along.
I suppose not having too much when you get to the end either.
Oh look, and the secret too is it's not trying to put it all on at once.
Yeah.
A few nice thin coats works way better than you know, trying to get it on in 2 thick coats. So we just get it on there, and you're always going to end up with little spots now where it soaks through and it actually looks like it doesn't have epoxy on it. That's fine, that's just the epoxy.
Yeah.
It's just the epoxy soaking through. When we put another layer on there, it'll cover all those, but you can sort of see in there now, you can start to see like there's bits that are shiny, it's all epoxy.
Yeah.
And you actually see where it starts to soak in. That's fine, it's just going to soak through the binding.
And the next coat covers it.
That's what you want to see anyway. You want to see that soaking through. You know it's going to go through and stick to the rod and lock it all together. And when the next one goes on, the next one's going to sit on top, and you're going to start to get that nice sort of plastic film over it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's epoxy.
That's epoxy.
It's the slowest process out of the whole build.
Yeah. But it's probably the most satisfying at the end when it's all
it looks
shiny and finished.
That's what we were talking about. It makes the rod, it makes all the bindings look twice as good instantly. Like
so if you look at that binding, guys, so it's unepoxied, and then you look at this one, and that's only the first coat. So
it looks quite dull at first, but it really makes it bright.
Yeah, that's huge difference.
But so yeah, it'll usually take me a good half an hour, and we'll get a coat on all the rod, and then we'll come back tomorrow and do it again.
And just let it spin.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool. So, how long you been doing the rods, Mike?
I think all up so far we're probably 6 to 8 hours.
Yeah.
Like in bits and pieces, but probably 6 or 8 hours of work so far.
Okay.
And then I said each time we epoxy now is another sort of half hour or so.
Time bit.
It's the time in between the coats now that slows everything down.
So how long have you actually been building rods?
Look, I repaired rods when I was a kid and played around, I suppose, like a lot of people do that break shit and want to fix it.
Snap it and fix it.
And but yeah, probably seriously over the last 10 years, started building a couple myself and a few for mates, and then mates tell mates, and end up doing it for anybody.
You get serious, and then this is what you get, guys. Righto, guys, the day is here. Like I said in the car coming up, the rod is ready. I'm deciding whether it's salty super stick or what we're calling. So Mike's got me rod. There you go, Mike.
Yeah, she's
just tell us a little bit about it.
It's all done. So we went through that. You'll see the video. There's a whole process of building it. So used all Alps components. Tried to keep in with Salty's colours. We had a couple of cracks at using different colours and found one that worked. But yeah, just put a bit of time into this one so that it just looked a little bit special, a bit different.
Stand out in the videos.
Like we already talked about, it's going to look really good. It's a bit dull today, but it's going to look really good when it gets out in the sun. Yeah. Some of the metallic stuff's really going to stand out there.
And it's going to look even better when it's bent over with a fish hanging off the end of it, guys. So yeah.
Yeah, and the metallic stuff, look at it, it'll stand out really, really good once you get it out in the sunny day. So no, it'll be a good thing.
So hold it there. We'll start at the base and we'll go up. So you get the full spec on things there. It's the rod. Even my eyes have got colour in it, guys. So yeah. So Mike's built this. He asked me what sort of rod I liked, and I had my old ugly stick you see in the boat, which is 30 plus years old and still goes strong. He asked me what my favourite rod was, and that was it. So we sort of based it on that. So that's why it's that length and that sort of style.
And a similar feel blank. It's a little bit softer than some rods, so it'll feel quite similar to that. But I'm just talking, just the materials are a lot better these days. It's a lot lighter than what the ugly will be. But it shouldn't feel too different. Shouldn't feel too foreign.
No, bloody awesome. Oh, I'm so excited to take this. This is living in the house, guys. It's not living in the shed with the other pauper rods.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just getting a few pointers. I've got this shiny new rod, as I keep saying. There's the shiny new rod. Got the shiny new rod. So I was just asking Mike about maintenance and what to do, and he's saying use silicone spray. Obviously, it probably doesn't matter. Here's a tin that he's using. Doesn't really matter, I imagine, on brand. So just silicone spray. So what was you just saying there, Mike?
There's different brand, but you can get a food grade, so it doesn't leave a residue behind. I know people are worried about spraying stuff on rods and reels in case you get a residue on your fingers and it's going to end up on your bait. With silicone spray, it won't do that. So I was just talking to Daz, we'll give everything a wash when we come home, reels, and then give them a coat of silicone spray and give them a wipe. It disperses the water, and it just keeps everything lubed up without making them greasy and oily. So really good way of looking after your gear.
And it doesn't matter if you get a bit of overspray onto your line. So
No,
yeah,
won't hurt anything. So yeah, it does a good job.
Cool. There's a little bit of maintenance tip to go on the end. Daz is going to go home and look at this again all afternoon. Hey guys, see you later.